U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Sunday said she met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Kyiv in order to send a clear message to the world.
America stands with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine until victory is won.
Pelosi spoke from Poland after her trip to Ukraine, where Zelenskyy greeted her and several U.S. lawmakers. Pelosi has said she hoped to pass a $33 billion aid package for Ukraine requested by President Joe Biden as soon as possible, a dramatic escalation of U.S. funding for Ukraine more than 2 months after Russia launched what it calls a special military operation.
Crawling out of the rubble of Mariupol's Azovstal steel plant and finally on their way to safety. These people have been sheltering in bunkers and tunnels underneath the complex as it came under continuous bombardment by Russian forces. The man filming this video, released by Ukraine's Azov battalion, says they're trying to get people out while the Russians aren't shooting. The evacuation was part of what the United Nations called a safe passage operation during a temporary ceasefire agreed by Russia and Ukraine. Up to 1,000 civilians and 2,000 Ukrainian fighters are believed to have ended up inside the plant, surrounded by Russian forces, in the last Ukrainian-held territory in the port city.
It happened at the town of Ariel. It's not just a settlement. It is in the occupied West Bank, but it is a town. The man who was killed was a security guard. What I'm telling you, I know because we've seen security camera footage of a blue Suzuki driving up, two men in it. They shoot at the security guard. He did two things, according to the Israeli media. He shut the gate. And he threw himself on top of the woman who was sitting there with him, and he took all the gunshots and he saved her life. After that, Israeli troops have been searching in the West Bank to try and find those men. They have not done that yet, but in clashes in a West Bank village of Azun near the town of Kalkilia, one Palestinian was killed. That's according to Palestinian medical sources this morning.
Violence has broken out during May Day protests in Paris as demonstrators took to the streets to criticise the re-elected President Emmanuel Macron and his policies. The key focus of the protests was the cost of living and Mr Macron's proposal to raise the retirement age from 62 to 65. The demonstrations took place across major French cities and were mostly peaceful, but some turned violent in Paris as black-clad protesters ransacked businesses and attacked emergency services personnel.
A man accused of being part of a death squad in the West African state of Gambia has gone on trial here in Germany. The 46-year-old came to Germany as a refugee and was arrested here last year. He is accused of being involved in murders while working for an assassination unit known as the Junglers. The Junglers took direct orders from former dictator Yahya Jammeh, who ruled Gambia from 1996 until early 2017. The German trial is the first in the world to see human rights violations committed in Gambia during the Jammeh era prosecuted on the basis of universal jurisdiction. Under this, a country can prosecute crimes against humanity and war crimes, regardless of where the atrocities took place.
Now, in a major blow to the Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi, India's anti-money laundering agency, ED, has seized assets worth about $725 million from the company's local bank accounts in India. The Chinese handset maker's assets have been seized for breaching India's foreign exchange laws. Xiaomi is one of the largest handset sellers in the country, and a probe found that the smartphone maker had made illegal remittances to foreign entities by passing them off as royalty payments. The Enforcement Directorate also asked the company for details of foreign funding, shareholding and funding patterns. financial statements, and information of key executives running the business.
Tonight in Kansas, one mangled mile after another, following a Friday nightmare.
Oh my gosh.
An EF3 tornado packing winds topping 160 miles per hour. This drone video capturing a rare glimpse of the Andover twister. And while you can't hear it, the image's stunning. You can see debris sucked skyward as the funnel forms, seconds before the twister starts tearing through homes. Beth and Alan Short say their son Gavin, a top meteorology student at the University of Oklahoma, called to say he was storm chasing Friday with two friends, Nicholas Nair and Drake Brooks. The group safely witnessed the Kansas tornado and was driving back to campus when authorities say their car hydroplaned, putting it in the path of a semi-truck.
Direct from France, an Airbus A350 with a harbour flypast, signalling a new era in air travel. Qantas's long-term future is all about long range. And the A350 has the longest legs of all. Sydney or Melbourne to London or New York, non-stop. No more stops in Singapore, Dubai and LA. It'll be 20 hours in one go. Qantas has ordered 12 of the planes, a multi-billion-dollar deal. They'll be delivered in 2025. What a turnaround for the airline, which was 2 weeks from bankruptcy. In the 1940s, a Qantas Constellation took 96 hours to get to London, with 7 stops. Now, no stops, thanks to the A350's fuel-efficient engines.